One of my absolute all-time favorite flies of traditional wet flies is a fly called the Woodcock Hare's ear. There is a series of those actually. There's like a woodcock in red, woodcock in yellow, woodcock in green. The only difference is the variation in the body color. Absolutely brilliant flies to use when there's caddis emergence, or even female caddis coming back to the surface oviposited. There's just an intrinsic value about this fly, and you'll understand why once we've tied this fly. Okay, we'll wrap the thread from just behind the eye, about 2 millimeters. Back it down the shank of the hook, nice even touch and turns of thread till we get to a position just above or thereabouts the point of the hook. And we're going to tie in 2 strands of bronze mallard that are going to represent the antennae of the caddis. If you recall earlier on when we dealt with tailing techniques, I made a point of telling you that in some cases a lot of these traditional flies had antennae which represented caddis antennae tied at the tail end. Not that the fish can tell any difference, but okay. We're going to just fetch that up there like that and catch that on top of the shank of the hook and continue with one more turn to secure that in that position. That's fine. Ribbon tinsel. Flat, gold or oval, whichever you choose. Let me show you another little trick too. Typically ties tend to buy spools of tinsel like this, or flat tinsel. But an economical way of actually, shall we say, getting yourself flat tinsel bodies is this. Just buy the big bulk stuff of Flashaboo, this, that and the other. And although it may well be of a diameter, or width, shall we say, of not really what you want, maybe a little bit, you know what? All you got to do is this. If you just gently stretch it like this, see that? And you reduce it down to a very, very fine diameter. Perfect for the smaller flies. And then we can use this little technique that we used earlier on when we were showing techniques. We bring the material back over the thread body like this and just pull that back in there like that, so we don't have to cut off any excess. And then we're going to build up a body of hairs here. I got a little kind of mix with this. I tend to put a few strands of orange synthetic material. I think it just adds that little bit more attractiveness to it. And then not too much material. Gently start to wrap that around your thread base. Don't compress it too hard. You don't want a too dead tight body. And then remember what we did earlier on. We started to get the material to initially catch to the hook shank, twisted at the lower end. And you just to cut off that tag there and that one there. That's good. And then we'll work our way back up the body of the fly. Try to build a kind of taper. See, as I'm coming up closer to the head, I kind of increase that definition from thin to thick. And then we're going to bring our ribbon tinsel over the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Finish underneath. Over to the right of the thread. Pick it back up. 1, 2, and we've got sufficient security there. And a little flyaway effect there. That's good. Okay, so we've got our tail and our body tied in. And we've got 2 options here. And you don't necessarily have to go exactly what I'm going to show you right here. We can use a number of different materials for the hackle. Ginger is good, partridge is good, woodcock is good, but essentially we're going to make the wing of woodcock anyways. But I'm going to use a woodcock hackle here anyway. If you take the the wing of the woodcock, most of the hackle you're going to look for is kind of just off here at the top of the shoulder of the wing. Okay? If you can't get woodcock, brown partridge is good. The other option you can use is the hen pheasant neck feathers around here. I don't think it really makes too much difference, to be honest about it. Okay, let's prep the hackle. Pull the fibers back we're not going to use. Reverse the hackle and draw those fibers back so we can expose the tip of the hackle, and just cut that off nice and neat like that. Set that in underneath the shank of the hook. Make sure it's in the correct position. 1, 2, 3. We're going to tie a wing on here, so bulk is something we don't need right now. Hold the hackle up. Draw your fibers back. And make 1. Usually about 2 soft turns is what I tend to make here. Bring the hackle up and bring the hackle back round the thread. Watch again how that thread pushes all those fibers out of the way. We don't kind of destroy anything of what we've already previously wound. 3 is good, no more. And then cut off the excess hackle. Okay, we got everything nice and neat ready except the wing. We're going to use what I define as a soft hackle to make the wing of the fly, and we did demonstrate that earlier on. And try to find a hackle that's pretty much, if you look at it from the central stem point, is equal left side and right side. Draw those fibers back, and what you're going to do is pick that up and just hold that above the top of your fly to the tine in point. How far is that wing going to extend? Is that about right? Close enough. We'll just come back a little touch more. Okay. Alright, now strip those fibers back, and what we're then going to do is this. We're going to carefully just kind of roll and compress those fibers together. See what I'm doing? I make kind of like a little solid wing structure there like that. And we're going to set that above the top of the fly like that, and if we're real careful, we can force the fibers so that when the hackle is tied, when the thread is tied down, it generates a definitive wing shape above the top of the fly. That's exactly what I'm looking for, like that. That's perfect. And then hold the hackle stem up, cut that off, and just make a couple more wraps of thread there neatly behind the eye to tie everything up. Nothing exposed, that's good. Put some varnish to the thread. If you got too much on there, you can either flick it or just wipe it down with your finger, either way. It'll make a lot of difference. And pick this up and do the whip finish. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put the scissor blade against the hook, tighten up the thread, cut off the thread, and there we go. Woodcock and Hare's Ear. Bear in mind what I told you. You can alternate the body colour, and I've got a little tick out there, I don't like that. You can alternate the body colour, you can make that yellow, you can make that green, you can make that red. Great fly. It looks perfect, just like a caddis in the water. If you have difficulty obtaining woodcock, then you know there's other options out there. The hen pheasant neck feather is perfect. Grouse hackle, same thing. But you know, pretty much just amount to the technique of what I just showed you there, how you prep your feather. Take your hackle out, strip off the fiber back to as far as the size of the wing you need for the fly. That's the important thing. The tine in point in relation to how far the wing comes back. And when you've got that assessed, well, just strip that fiber back, and then very, very gently, what you're doing, you're just rolling the fiber. You're kind of keeping it left and right at the center of the quill of the feather. That's what I explained to you. And it creates like a little V shape. So when you actually tie it down on top of the fly, you're actually compressing the fibers left side and right side of the quill. So you're making a distinctive kind of wing pattern that exists over the top of your fly. And it's a real neat way actually to make wings for wet fly imitations that imitate the caddis fly.